G'day people. Today I'm going to make pumpkin soup. Inevitably you grow pumpkins, get a big pumpkin like I had a 4 kilo pumpkin, and you do something with it. What are you going to do with the rest? Like, it's a lot of pumpkin to use at once. So, great way to use up pumpkin soup, you know. I guess most people, especially if you came from a European or American background, North American background, you'd be used to pumpkin soup. Very, very common thing to have. And it's really, really good. You know, a good pumpkin soup is as good as any soup you'll ever get. You know, it's one of the best soups you can make. And it's also one of the simplest soups you can ever make. So, the thing about these things is that the simple is best. Don't put too much in it. Don't put too many other things. Don't put bloody spices. Don't put spices. Don't put herbs. It's just pumpkin, you know. Let the pumpkin speak. That's the beauty of pumpkin soup. It's pumpkin, right? Nothing else should be dominating that pumpkin. It doesn't need anything with it. Okay, I am going to put an onion and I'm going to put, you know, a potato or two. But, you know, they're not going to dominate. Leave the spices out. I shouldn't talk. I'm going to put a little bit of cayenne, but it's only going to be a very small amount, and it's optional, right? Things like cinnamon and nutmeg and whatever, just don't. Just leave them out. They're not going to improve it. They're going to make it worse. The great key, the secret, if you can call it a secret, the key to making a really good pumpkin soup is to have good pumpkin. You know, the better the pumpkin, the better the soup. The worse the pumpkin, the worse the soup. You know, you can't hide the fact that your pumpkin's no bloody good in a pumpkin soup. You can't hide it. If you try and hide it, you're going to fill it up with spices and bullshit, and it's still going to be horrible. So, start with good pumpkin. This is pumpkin I grew myself. And when you can tell if it's good pumpkin, it'll be orange. Really, the more orange the better. So I suppose, you know, this pumpkin's pretty good, but it could be better. You know, you can get better pumpkin, but the better the pumpkin, the better the soup. All right, that's the secret. You know, don't try to avoid it. You can't avoid it. Keep it simple. Start with good pumpkin, and really, if you do that, it's very, very hard to lose. You know, it's very, very hard to lose. Very hard. Right, start with an onion. Very simple to make this. Simple and quick. Quick, you know. You'll see, it doesn't take long. And very little to go wrong. Chop up your pumpkin. You don't even have to chop it up particularly well, just don't have to dice it. Just chunks will do. Get a big pot. Get a big pot. Hang on. Let's get a knife. Now we want a fair bit of butter. Not because you need a lot of butter to fry the pumpkin, but you need a fair bit of butter to go with the pumpkin. You know, butter and pumpkin. Pumpkin likes a bit of fat. Pumpkin likes a bit of sugar. A bit of salt. Salt and fat. Great. Now, you can decide how much potato you want to put in. I mean, you can make it with no potato. Soups are great like that. You can do what you like with soups. You know. I mean, you can make it without any potato at all if you want. Normally I like to leave the potato skin on, but in the case of this soup, no. No, we don't want potato skin affecting the flavour. So the potato skin's got a lot of flavour, and really this is all about the pumpkin, so we don't want the flavour of potato skins. Alright, I'll just wash them. Give them a rinse. Oh. What is going on? What's going on with the butter? Didn't melt as well as I was expecting. Didn't melt all at once. I sort of thought it would have, but I mean, I should have put the butter in just on its own to start with, I guess. Should have. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. So we just cut the potato into chunks. We're going to vitamise everything, right? So you don't need to be worried about cutting things into exactly the right size. It's all going to be vitamised. Not going to be a problem. Just going to saute them for a little while, because obviously, you know, a bit of colour on your spuds is always good, and colour on the spuds is good, and of course you want to cook your onions. You want to fry your onions a bit, because fried onions are always good, right? Always good. So you don't have to go too mad, but a bit of colour on the stuff. It's going to add a little bit of flavour, a little bit more flavour to the soup. Alright. This is a weird piece of pumpkin. It's got a valley in it. So I just have to cut the valley in half so that you can cut the skin off. Yes, good luck trying to peel pumpkin with a potato peeler. I don't like your chances. But you know, if you want to try, go ahead, knock yourself out. I don't care. Just cut your pumpkin up a bit. I mean, the idea is to have the pumpkin small enough so it'll cook fast. Yeah, not that it matters. It's going to cook anyway. Getting a bit of colour in there. I mean, some of the pumpkin will be caramelised and most of it won't be, and that's fine. Just a little bit caramelised would be good. I guess if you wanted to, you could try baking the pumpkin first, but I don't know if that's a good idea for soup. Not convinced. But you can try it, you know. The beauty of cooking. Try it. You know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Only way you're going to know is by trying. Now, I think I've made a mistake here. I have made a mistake because I need to measure the weight. I need to measure the weight of the pumpkin. So I'll just take them back. I'll take the pumpkin back out of the pan so I can measure the weight. It's supposed to be a kilo, right? I mean, it's not going to matter if it's a bit more, but I want to make sure that it's roughly a kilo. I could probably make it a little bit more, but I want it to be roughly right. So just crack on with the peeling. It's the beauty of these cooking videos, you know, one take. I mean, they're always one take. I'm not going to go back and do it again, so if I make a mistake, it's going to be in. I'm not going to be making multiple. I'm not going to make the dish 2 or 3 times, bugger that. I'm going to make it once. Unless I completely and utterly ruin it. If I completely wreck it, then yes, I'll just scrap the whole lot and start again. That generally does not happen. I think it's only happened once. One thing I made, I had to restart, but only once. So like I always say, when you're cutting pumpkin, always cut away from yourself. Cut away from yourself and you won't get hurt. You won't get hurt when the knife slips, because eventually the knife is going to slip. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually it's going to slip. And then you'll be sorry. You'll go, oh, I wish I'd listened to Mr. Mars. And he told me to always cut away from myself. Alright. So, let's see how much pumpkin we've got. So I'll just put the pot on the scales with a cork mat so I don't burn the scales, or don't melt the, I don't want to melt the scales. Right, so we're looking for a kilo. For a kilo, and we've got nearly a kilo, so I'll just put a little bit more in. A little bit more in. $10.80. $10.50. That'll do. $10.50 looks good. Right, back on the heat. $10.50 looks good. You don't have to do it. I'm going to put a little bit of cayenne, not much, like quarter of a teaspoon, something like that. Yeah. I just want a hint, you know, I don't want it to be strong, I just want a hint. Now, the water, right? So pre-measure your water. One teaspoon of salt. Quite a bit of salt, but not too much. So let's just have a look at what's going on. So, come on phone. So we pre-measure the water, that way you just pour it in and you're done. And we can see there, as you're about to see, we've got, it's up to the level of 1 litre, which is what we want. One litre of water, 1 kilo of pumpkin. Perfect. Perfect ratio there, 1 to 1. Just pour it all in. Pour it all in. How easy is that? Easy, easy, easy. Right, so give it a bit of a stir. Turn the heat up. Good as gold. Good as gold. I'll be back when that's cooked, which should be like 20 minutes. I'll probably give it half an hour just to be totally sure it's fully cooked. Okay, back then. Alright, it's all cooked, well and truly cooked. So what we're going to do now is blend it. So we'll see how much of this we can put in. I don't know if we can fit it all in to the blender in one hit. I don't know if it'll go in one hit, but we're going to find out. So I'll just put some of this, the big chunks in. Then I'll pour the rest in and see what happens. Yes, look at that. So it's about a 2 litre blender, so it just about fits. Hopefully it doesn't all squirt out the end. It might, you know. Anyway, I'm going to find out. I shall find out. I pop it in there. Get this at the ready in case it does squirt out. Start it on low. I'll go to easy. Often some of the chunks get caught up a bit above the blade. And if you just stop it and start it again, they'll get chomped by the initial pulse, right? To see whether I can hear chunks getting chopped up, you know, whether they've been caught in some vortex somewhere. Anyway, let's see how it turned out. See how it looks. Oh, it's pretty smooth, so there's no problem there. Blender has done the job. This is a Optimum blender. Good, powerful blender. I think it might be Australian. Good brand, you know, it's virtually as good as the Vitamix. Vitamix, is it? Can't remember. The famous one, anyway. Right, so we just taste it, see what it's like. Yeah, nice and pumpkin-y. Could use a bit more salt. So I'll just try a level salt spoon. It's very easy with pumpkin soup to put too much salt in. Now you taste it, you think, oh yeah, it needs a bit more salt, and then you put too much in and you can't take it out. And then from then on, it's a bit too salty. So you're probably better off having a little bit too less salt than a bit too much. Yeah. Boom, boom. Right. I'm going to get a piece of toast and I'm going to put this in a bowl. I'm going to do the taste review. I'll be back. All right, ready to eat. It's lunchtime, I'm hungry. So, there it is. That's the soup, nothing added to it. It's just the water and pumpkin and a bit of potato and onion. Bit of salt and a tiny little bit of cayenne, which is optional. Piece of Martian bread. Let's take a picture. Take a vid. Look at that. Look at that. Nice, thick, but not too thick. And there's some Martian bread, which I've spread with butter. So let's taste it. Yeah. Pumpkin soup is just, it's as good as any other soup you'll ever make. It's fantastic. It's just this beautiful, buttery, melting taste of pumpkin. Pumpkin, butter. I guess you don't really taste the potato, but I guess the potato adds a bit of background body that you don't really notice. It's all about the pumpkin, and you know, it really delivers. It's one of the best ways you can ever eat pumpkin. It's fantastic. Some Martian bread. Martian bread, full of flavour. So, Martian bread, dense, taste of wheat, you know. Really good. So you're eating lunch, you got your soup. I mean, you can eat the soup just on its own, it doesn't need anything else, but you probably want something to fill your belly apart from just soup. That's what the bread's for. You add a bit, you know, have some soup, have a little bite of bread. You can even dip the bread in the soup. Always a good thing to do. Yeah, cool. Honestly, people, it's all you need. Doesn't need anything else. It's great. Great the way it is, but you know, a lot of people like to put a bit of cream in. Like I say, it's great the way it is. So if you're going to put cream in, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. I think it's stir some cream through. I'll just get a photo of the cream. Try with the cream. Honestly, there's not much difference. There really isn't. Not much difference. I guess it's a bit creamier. But because of the butter, I put a good chunk of butter in, like 60, 70 grams of butter went in, maybe. Yeah, 60 or 70 grams, maybe up to 80 went in. So that butter penetrates and it really complements the pumpkin. You know, pumpkin and butter, great. Don't overdo the butter. You don't want it to be totally butter. You know, the butter's there to accompany the pumpkin, and it does that. So if you put cream in, all you do is you get a bit more creaminess. It doesn't really alter it that much. You get a bit more creaminess, a bit less pumpkiny, a little bit. Great. So there it is. Really simple and really good. Now, keep it simple, do it right, don't ruin it by adding a bunch of spices or whatever. It's about the pumpkin. If you start with good pumpkin, you're going to have good pumpkin soup, right? You're going to have it. You can't lose. Just don't wreck it. Just don't wreck it. All right, there you go. Over and out.